Hello there, everybody, and welcome to round 5 of season 7 of the Attrition Sim Race Campus Oval Series. Tonight, we are here out in Hampton, Virginia at Larry King Law's Langley Speedway. This track comes in at 0.39 miles in length, or 0.63 kilometers in length, and opened back in 1950. Fun fact, before it became a racetrack, this was actually a horse racing track called Dude Ranch. I'm not entirely sure Dude Ranch is a term I would expect people in the 1940s to use, but you know what? Whatever floats their boat, I reckon. This track is often known as one of the busiest short tracks on the East Coast. It has late models, street stocks, modifieds, legends, U-Car, Super Truck, Pro Wing, Champ Cars, Enduros, Bandoleros, and even more, all on a weekly rotation. So I can kind of see why they say this track's so busy. It seems like they always have races going on, along with concerts and the likes in the infield, and also something they like to call Wacky Wednesdays. What Wacky Wednesdays are, though, however, we may never know, except for the people who attend this track in real life. This track is also across the street from a NASA research center, which is a little scary. Hopefully we won't see any rockets launching in the background. They might have to red flag the race for that, but we will have to see. That said, Attrition Sim Race Campus is a league that runs multi-class MX5s and TCRs at 7 p.m. Eastern every Monday night, followed by the Oval Series with late models for 101 laps, which you will be seeing here. And then on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, they have a Dirt Pro Late Model Series. So if any of those sound interesting to you, go ahead and check out the league at ASRC Racing on Twitter or www.asrcracing.com. That said, qualifying is just about in the books here tonight, so let's go take a look at your starting lineup, presented by Majors Garage and Sim Racer Hub. Starting out on pole tonight, after having an absolutely dominant race last week and almost lapping the entire field purely on pace, is Chase Johnson. Starting off in second place in the number 87 entry is Koi Hasselu. In third place goes to a rookie, David Sluiter, I can speak, in the number 95 entry, making his first start in the Attrition Sim Race Campus Oval Series. In fourth place, fittingly driving the number 4 Union 76 entry, is Brad Ringer. In fifth place, the number 9 entry of Anthony Nadell, I believe also a rookie to the Attrition Sim Race Campus Oval Series. In sixth place, the man that makes it all happen here, the number 93 of Jason Gardner. In seventh place, the number 51 of Eric Gahn. In eighth place, the number 14 machine of Nico Morelli from Morelli Motorsports. In ninth place, league admin Johnny Bell in the number 27 Lernerville TV entry. And finally, rounding out the field here tonight is Bill Watkins out in the number 6 machine. 101 laps are up on the board here tonight, and with several new faces out in the field, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what these new drivers have to offer. There's actually a lot of names here that either I outright don't recognize or I've only ever seen once before. So, that said, the pace car is getting ready to be off, and then we will have 101 laps of racing here at the Larry King Law Langley Speedway. It does look like Bill Watkins did not make it to the starting grid, so only 9 cars rounding us out here tonight. But for a boring short track like this, that's still pretty good. But here we are. Green flag is out here at the Langley Speedway. Chasen Johnson off to a good start, which does not surprise me. He's kind of keeping up the trend of the inside line being pretty dominant on these small tracks. Nico Morelli and Brad Ringer still side by side. Brad just getting pinched up to the high side, having to find a way to funnel himself down there. That number 4 Union 76 entry already down 3 positions from where he qualified, but unfortunately that's just sometimes the reality of restarts on these short tracks. If you can't find a way down to the inside line real quick, you can get funneled back very quickly, and it's definitely not what you want to be experiencing early on. But there's still 95 laps left in this race for Mr. Brad Ringer to try and make some of these spots back. So we will have to keep a close eye on him and see what he manages to pull off. Brad was involved in an incident in our last race back at the Five Flags Speedway, so he's probably hoping to try and recover a couple of points in the standings. There are 4 drop weeks here in the Oval Series, but you still want to do everything you can to try and get as many points as possible. Even if your 4 worst races don't count, it's better to have your 4 worst races still be decent runs than have your 4 worst races be, you completing 2 laps, getting involved in a wreck, and finishing last. That said, Nico Morelli, he gained several spots right on the start, and now he is starting to get some pressure from behind from Brad Ringer and Jason Gardner. These 2 drivers have also been pretty similar on pace. Jason Gardner actually has gotten a couple of podium finishes here in the Oval Series, so it is a little surprising to see him this far back in the field, but sometimes that's just how it goes. This is a very tricky short track, very flat, not completely flat. I believe there is roughly, I want to say, 2 degrees of banking in the corners. So the track, it does look flat, and it feels pretty flat when you're driving it, but for those who really like the nitty-gritty, technically, this is not a completely flat track. Jason Gardner still trying to put some pressure on the number 4 of Brad Ringer. A little loose out of the corner there in that Ray Bestis Brakes number 93 entry, but he's still making it go. There was a little bit of drifting up in 1 and 2 there, but sometimes you just gotta feel your way around the track and try and make the car stick, and that's what he's trying to do. You know what they say, if you are driving the line in the car in front of you, then you are not passing the car in front of you. So you do have to sometimes get a little bit experimental to try and get a pass on your opponents, and Brad Ringer is going to do just that. Nico Morelli did drift up a little bit, and it was just enough for Brad Ringer to get his nose up and under him, and it looks like Jason Gardner going to do the same thing, and Nico Morelli is going to go around to bring out the first caution of the evening. Nico coming very close to saving the car, but unfortunately there was just a little bit too much rotation there. And now, with 16 laps complete, we do have our first caution. Let's take a look back and see if we can see a better view of what happened there to the number 14 machine. Nico Morelli driving a tribute paint scheme to an IndyCar driver and former F1 driver that unfortunately lost his life back in 2015, I believe, Justin Wilson. It's always cool seeing drivers bring out paint schemes for their favorite drivers, be it memorials, tributes, or sometimes just running their favorite paint scheme. Let's take another look back at that. The number 93 of Jason Gardner pushing up a little bit high there, and Nico, for as much as he tried his best to save it, just could not make it happen. Let's ride on board with Nico real quick and see what there was to see from his cockpit cam. Yep, just a little light tap on his left rear quarter panel. He tried his best to keep it from spinning, and he just could not make it work. That said, things have been shaken up a little bit by this caution. Everyone from Koi Heselu back in the 4th position has gone into pit lane on this caution, so it does look like fuel mileage might be a concern for some of these drivers. It looks like 20, 23, 30, 25, 25 in terms of pit times, so it looks like some drivers might have taken tires there, but the green flag is back out. David Slitter is back on a massive tear. He is our new race leader, of course. Johnny Bell trying to make the high or the low line stick with Chase Johnson to his outside. A little bit of contact for Johnny and Chase there. And the number 9 of Anthony Nadell almost pushed all the way down onto the apron, trying to get any amount of extra rotation that he can for this car, but it looks like it might be working for him. Nico Morelli, despite being involved in that wreck, still out on the track. It looks like Nico did pit in. He had a very short pit stop. And the caution flag is out again. Let's see if we can figure out what just happened there. There are not any wrecks coming up on my time and scoring sheet, so let's see if we can figure out what happened. Oh, and there it is. It looks like Jason Gardner slowed a little bit coming out of pit lane to let the leaders by, and it looks like that might have been what brought out the caution. Sure enough, Jason slowed down after he crossed the green cones, and that was enough for the iRacing officials to throw the yellow flag. So no wrecks for any of these drivers, but this might create an opportunity for the drivers who have not yet taken fuel to do it now. Because we've had a bit of experience with that in the past, with drivers trying to either make it to the end on fuel or ignoring early cautions to try and do a late race pit stop. And a lot of times it catches them out and makes them lose a lot of positions, because sometimes it just doesn't work out. When everyone takes fuel on the first caution, it can definitely complicate things when you're out in the lead and you still have to consider taking fuel. But the field still shaking up a little bit. Currently, Eric Gahn in the 51 and Johnny Bell in the 27 are both tied for the most positions gained this race. Johnny Bell and Eric Gahn both up 4 positions from where they qualified here tonight. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on these two drivers and see if they manage to keep gaining positions. Johnny Bell has not pit for fuel yet, which does sound very in character for Johnny Bell. He's been trying very, let's just say, unorthodox fuel strategies all season. So who knows just what the driver of that 27 Lernerville TV entry might just have up his sleeve here tonight. When we go green flag racing again, we should this time we will be 28 laps in, so about 70-ish laps to go. So still plenty of wiggle room for drivers to play with their fuel strategies. We'll just have to see what they have in mind. That said, the pace car is off, and we are going green flag racing here for the third time at Langley Speedway. David Sluiter off to a pretty good start. Chase and Johnson making sure that Koi Haselu is not able to get down to the lower line at all, filtering him in that 87 machine back to the third spot. But that's still better than what Brad Ringer had to deal with earlier on in this race when he got cycled back 3 positions on a restart. Back in the back, Nico and Johnny battling it out, 2 drivers scraping the wall a little bit, but they're both able to keep their cars going. That might just have given Brad Ringer the gap he needed to get around Nico Morelli, along with Johnny Bell or Jason Gardner also managing to get around the driver of that 14 machine. Jason Gardner is currently 5 laps down, but he is still very much in this race. And Chase Johnson is our new race leader here tonight. He qualified on pole. After that first caution, he did get moved down a few spots, but he has promptly taken them back and is already beginning to create a bit of a gap between himself and the number 95 of David Sluiter. Eric Gahn battling it out with Anthony Nadell. It looked like Nadell was a little bit slidey there, but he managed to keep his car going. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but it looks like everyone has gotten things mostly figured out here tonight. We are now about to be 35 laps in the books, so the time is certainly ticking down for these drivers. Eventually, the patience is going to run out and moves are going to have to start being made. And there is another wreck. Caution's not out yet. Nico Morelli spun his car around. He is able to keep it going, so the caution is not going to come out. Very unfortunate for the driver of that number 14 machine. Let's take a quick look back and see what happened to him. It looked like he might have just gotten loose out of one. Yeah, get his front left tire down on the apron a little bit, and the rear end just snapped out on him there. But he was able to get the car going again before the leaders could come back around, so the iRacing official said, sure, have at it, keep going. That was a very scary dodge for Chase Johnson there. Chase Johnson almost got into the rear end of Nico Morelli there, but he thankfully did manage to avoid the slow car. Chase and Johnson, though, still our race leader in that number 57-8 entry. Chase out of Chesterfield, Virginia, which is, I don't actually believe that's too far away from the Langley Speedway, so there's a very good chance that Mr. Johnson has actually been here in the real world. Considering how well he's driving, we might just have to ask him about that in a post-race interview, but we still have about 60 laps to go, so let's not get ahead of ourselves here. There still could be a lot of things that could happen to this field in the next 60 laps. Currently, the closest battle on the speedway between Brad Ringer and Johnny Bell, about 0.4 of a second between these two drivers. Brad Ringer has had a bit of a hectic race. He got up a few spots, he went back a few spots, got up a few spots again, went back a few spots again, and now he is currently the last car on the lead lap. And should the caution come out again, Nico Morelli will get his lap back. So we will have to see if Nico in that number 14 entry will be fortunate enough for that. Though it does look like the front end of that number 14 late model is a little bit banged up. So we'll definitely have to see, one, if this driver can get back on the lead lap, and if he does, if he will still be at race pace, because that dented up hood is definitely going to be affecting his aerodynamics here at the Langley Speedway. David Sluiter in the number 95 starting to get a little bit of pressure from behind from fellow rookie Koi Haselu in the number 87. These two drivers up one spot and down one spot respectively from where they qualified, so they've only changed places once here tonight. And I'd imagine that these two drivers, of course they're going to be racing for position, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're both going to be fairly happy getting podium positions in their debut race. So we will have to keep an eye on these drivers and see what they are capable of pulling off here tonight. There is a bit of a gap between the cars now. The field is starting to spread out. I think everyone has started to get the memo a little bit to give each other a bit more space after having 3 cautions before the halfway point in the race. Plus, I'd imagine at a short, flat track like this, you're really having to crank the wheel in some of these corners. So you got to really consider your tire wear. This is not a good track for keeping your tires in good condition. Brad Ringer in the number 4 machine. It looks like Brad Ringer just parked it. I'm not sure why. I don't think he was involved in any incidents, but Brad Ringer just withdrew from the race. Alrighty then, I figured, okay, he's pitting in to go get his fuel run, but I guess he's calling it a night here tonight. So Jason Gardner still out on the speedway. We now know that he is at the very least going to finish 8th, and trouble for Nico Morelli there. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. If Nico just went up high to give the position to Jason and the car got unstable on him, or what quite happened there. He is able to keep the car going, but it looks mighty beat up. That's the only real polite way to say it. That is a very beat up late model stock car. And with that pass by Chase and Johnson, Nico Morelli now officially 2 laps down. So he's still going to be the lucky dog. Oh, trouble for Nico maybe? No, he did manage to keep the car going. It did look like he was having a big wiggle there. He's pretty much drifting through these corners. It's a bit of an impressive display. But he is able to keep the car going. But he is 2 laps down now, so he still will be the lucky dog should a caution come out. But it is not going to be enough to put him back on the lead lap. Jason Gardner back up to the 8th position in that number 93 Raybestos Brakes entry. Since Brad Ringer has officially retired for the night, he is going to get that position back. Nico Morelli, that late model is very, very damaged. I can only imagine what the handling on it is like right now. I got to applaud him. I don't think I would be able to drive the car in the condition it is right now. So kudos to him for managing to keep it going. I would imagine that he has a solid couple minutes of repairs waiting on him. So I'd imagine he's trying his best to keep the car just on the speedway so that Jason Gardner does not get the position back on him. Speaking of drivers looking to get positions back, Johnny Bell now a lap down. Johnny Bell, one of 3 drivers that still have not pit for fuel this race. We will have to see if he manages to squeeze his way back onto the lead lap through his unorthodox fuel strategies. 64 laps are in the books now, so roughly 45 laps to go. Looks like trouble for Nico Morelli again. Yeah, he did have a little bit of difficulty there, but he's still keeping the car going. He is making it around this speedway one way or another, ladies or gentlemen. Currently, the closest battle on the speedway actually is between the number 95 of David Sluiter and the number 87 of Koi Hasselu, with a second of difference between the two cars, but they are actually currently the closest cars on the speedway. Nico Morelli finally throwing in the towel and bringing his car down to pit lane. Looks like he will be taking tires and fuel. I will definitely be curious to see how much... Oh, nope, no repairs needed. He's just taken fuel. He is ready to at least beat Jason Gardner. I think that's the only thing left on this man's to-do list, is stay in front of Jason. And you know what? Kudos to him. If he can make this work, sometimes even things like that are half the battle. Up in the front, Chase and Johnson putting up a very dominant performance. I will say he has not completely demolished the field as much as he did last race at the Five Flags Speedway. Chase Johnson last race managed to lap the entire field except for Jason Gardner. It purely on pace. It was not on pit strategy or fuel management or anything like that. He managed to pass all 7 of the 8 other cars on track purely from speed. And it looks like, while he is not necessarily on par to pull off a feat like that again, he definitely has Eric Gahn set in his sights to be the next car going a lap down in that number 51 machine. We will have to see if Eric is able to hold off the leader. Of course, here on the iRacing.com platform, caution flags are purely informative. They do not have to be followed. Blue flags, not caution flags. I can word good. I know my race rules. But blue flags, purely informational. You do not have to follow them. But a lot of drivers, particularly here in Attrition, will follow them anyway. And we have another caution. Very interesting. It looks like Nico Morelli, unfortunately, had the car get the best of him after, honestly, a very valiant attempt to keep this thing going. He's been fighting it tooth and nail. This car is doing everything under its power to try and just end its suffering at this rate, and Nico Morelli is still nursing it around the track to the best of his ability. Let's take a look back and see what happened to Nico there. Nico, of course, in the number 14 machine, the Justin Wilson's memorial entry, and yeah, the car just completely snapped out on him there. There was not much he can do with how much steering damage he has. He has to be incredibly gentle with it. The only way to put it is he has to baby this car around the track to keep it from doing exactly what it did there. Let's ride on board with Nico and see just what it is that he is trying to do with this car. You can see him having to hold the wheel to the side even while on the straightaways, so there's definitely a bit of steering damage on that number 14 machine. But he's putting up a valiant effort, you know? He's still up in front of Jason Gardner, so he's still making it happen. He's not given up yet by any means, that is for sure. Race fans, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to display this on stream, but avert your eyes if you have children watching, is all I can really say to that. This is some high-level car shenanigans going on here by that number 14 machine. Which really just goes to show how ridiculous the pace truck is when compared to most race cars. Actually, the NASCAR trucks are similar in size to these late model stock cars, so it even shows you how silly the pace truck looks compared to the actual NASCAR racing trucks on the iRacing.com platform. Not quite sure what happened there. We had what sounded like a car hitting the wall, and I'm not sure what that was. Let's take a quick look back and make sure that everything is okay with Jason. Oh, there was just a little bit of a checkup and a little bit of a bonk. But that said, we are lined back up 2 by 2, 22 laps to go. Let's see what these drivers can make happen on this next restart. Johnson, Hasselou, Sluiter, Gahn, and Nadell, and Bell, your 6 lead lap drivers here tonight. These 4 drivers keeping things pretty packed together. Eric Gahn did back off a little bit there, as the 87 of Hasselou tried to go all the way down on the apron to make the car get that nose up under Johnson. He's really pushing the apron down there. That's a very bold move. On most short tracks like this, the apron tends to be very slick, and while we don't necessarily have rules against using it, it's generally advisable not to, because it can make your car just completely snap out on you. That said, he is going incredibly low down on the track, and he's going to make the pass happen. Hasselou is your new race leader in that number 87 machine. Hasselou being a rookie here in that number 87. It's definitely exciting to see new drivers coming out to the league and being able to compete with the regulars. Jason Johnson has filtered back to the 3rd place. He has pit in. All drivers have pit for fuel at this point. We will have to see if Johnson is able to make these positions back. I'm not sure if he dropped back for any particular strategic reason or if he just got stuck up on the high line. It looked like that 9 car of Anthony Nadell. Ooh, trouble for Johnson. He got up into the wall there. Definitely not what the driver of that number 83 wanted to see. Johnson now 3 spots down from where he qualified, and is now out of the top 3 podium positions. Definitely, it's like I said, there's plenty of time for this race to have some very interesting developments. I am honestly surprised to see Johnson not in the lead anymore. And the caution is out again. Trouble for Nico Morelli in the number 14. He is committed. He is doing everything in his power to keep this car on the speedway and not let Jason Gardner get past him. As much as I hate to say it, let's take a look back and see what happened to Nico Morelli. It does look like we are at a little bit late on the incident there, so let's actually jump back a little bit further and then go to Nico. This should catch Nico's incident here in that number 14 machine. Coming out of... No, this is back on the backstretch, so we are a little bit too far back. He goes into 3 and 4. And we might be a lap too far back. That's okay. So this time by should be our incident. He goes through 3 and 4. He goes down on the apron. and he just barely taps the wall, and that sends the car just completely spinning out on him. Nothing he could really do to recover that. With how much steering damage he has on this number 14 entry, he's really having to completely wheel this car to make it do anything, much less be competitive. Let's ride on board with Nico Morelli for what we can of this incident. He's got that wheel cranked to the right, and even being hard on the brakes like that, he got it slowed down as fast as he could. So, this is quite the development, race fans. When the pace car goes back in, I believe we will be going green flag racing with, I want to say, 7 to go? I believe we'll be going green with 7 to go, which will definitely be quite the chaotic shootout of a finish. None of this 50 laps to go before the caution flag, all green flag racing. Everything is going to come down to these final 7 laps. I'll tell you what, race fans, things are going to be hectic. There's no beating around the bush with this. 6 cars on the lead lap still. Hasselou, Sluiter, Nadell, Johnson, Gahn, Bell. These 6 drivers are going to be throwing everything they have at one another in these last 7 laps. The pace car is off. We're going green flag racing here again at the Langley Speedway. And immediately we have a bit of contact. Chase Johnson throwing it 3 wide immediately on the restart, pushing the 95 of Sluiter up into the wall. Sluiter now back to the 5th position. He's definitely not going to be happy about that. The 51 of Eric Gahn up 3 positions from where he qualified, doing everything he can to try and hold on to this position. He definitely does have some stiff competition behind him in the form of that number 95 entry of Sluiter. Chase Johnson, however, he is out for blood. 5 laps to go. Big high five up in the air. This driver is going to give it everything he has to try and get back at least to 2nd place, if not the lead. We do have NASCAR-style overtime here, so if someone bends it, we will be going into overtime. The race won't end under caution. We'll have to see what happens. 3 to go. Hasselou, still our race leader with almost a full second gap. Johnson and Nadell still the closest battle on the speedway. 2 laps to go here. Johnson's got 2 laps to try and make this pass happen, but it looks like he is getting a bit loose on corner entry. You can see the rear end sliding out on him a little bit. White flag is up in the air. And as we go by this last time, looks like Hasselou will be our winner here tonight in his debut race. Corey Hasselou makes it happen here at the Langley Speedway in his debut race. That now makes us 2 races back-to-back where rookies claim the checkered flag in their debut start. Very, very interesting, race fans. This will definitely do a bit of shaking up here tonight for our standings as Corey Hasselou burns it down here at Langley Speedway. He made it happen here in the last, I want to say, 15 laps or so. Sometimes that's all it takes, race fans. Coy doing a bit of a victory lap here. We will have to see if we are able to dial him up for an interview. I'm not sure if I saw him join the Discord or not, so we will have to see if I'm able to get him to pick up here in that number 87 machine. But of course, first we gotta let him get his victory driving out. Heck of a run to Koi Hasselu. He was put up against some very stiff competition here tonight, and he made it work for him. But while he does that, let's see if we can dial him up. Uh, does not look like Mr. Hasselu has a Discord. We will have to see. Oh, nope, there he is. He has not joined the call, but he has joined the server. We are calling up Mr. Koi Hasselu. There he is. He's in the other chat. I know this is very unprompted. Normally I ping drivers and warn them they're going to get an interview, but I couldn't figure out what your Discord name was.
Oh,
But
there you go.
would you like an interview, Mr. Race Winner?
Sure.
All right. Well, you made things happen in that, I want to say, last 15 laps. You were up against some very stiff competition tonight, and you made it happen here.
Yeah, so Chase invited me to this about 5 minutes before it started, and I joined. And then late in the run there, I had tires left, and Chase did not, so it worked out.
You did a great job. You put on a heck of a show. It's always great seeing new drivers out in the league, and it's definitely always great seeing drivers take the checkered flag in their debut race.
Yeah, thank you. It was fun. Thanks for putting it on and stuff, and Chase for the invite.
Yeah, thanks for coming out. Is there anyone you would like to thank for putting that number 87 machine in victory lane?
My parents. That's who I'd like to thank.
Good deal. I can always respect that.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out. And Mr. Anthony Nadell picking up the second place finish. Also, I believe, on your debut start, if I'm correct. How'd you make it happen?
Yeah, so I I happened to save a set of tires on the initial caution where we came down and put fuel in, and so that kind of allowed me to get back around Chase, and then that restart at the end was pretty crazy. We got 3 wide coming off of 2, and um, kind of pinched David into the wall there, but me and Chase were able to continue. I was kind of waiting for him to get back to me and move me out of the way for second, but I was able to hang on and get a good finish. So I'm pretty happy with the results. It was a good race, a lot of fun, and say thanks to Chase for inviting me out, and we put on a good show.
Good deal. It's definitely great seeing new drivers coming out here. It's always exciting to see new faces, especially for the one race I didn't do any prep work for. I load up to the race with about 5 minutes before the green flag and have a bit of a stroke as I see a bunch of names I don't have notes for. But it's great having new people come out. So thank you for coming in racing. Is there anyone you
Yeah.
would like to thank for getting on this podium position?
No, I mean, I guess I'd have to thank Chase for sending me the invite, and for not knocking me out of the way when he had the opportunity.
Good deal. Well, thank you so much for coming out. I hope to see y'all again next week.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for putting this on. I had a great time.
Heck yeah.
All right.
You heard it here first, race fans. Our second place finisher and also rookie driver, Anthony Nadell. Now, let's see if we can dial up our final man, Mr. Chase Johnson. He put on a heck of a show here tonight, and he seemed to have a little bit of difficulty down at the end there. He just could not get the tires managed like he wanted to, I think. But he still put on a heck of a show here tonight, race fans. Let's see if we can dial him up and get a quick word with him. He is on Do Not Disturb, so we will see if he actually answers the call. It would be cool to keep the streak going of driver getting all three drivers for the interview, but we may be one driver short here tonight. We will give him a few minutes to see if he comes out and has a chat with us. But if he doesn't, he doesn't. It happens to the best of us. But in the meantime, of course, Attrition Sim Race Campus has been going since 2017 now. The Oval Series has been going since 2021, so this is the 7th season of the Oval Series. But the Road Series has been going since the summer of 2017. They currently do multi-class MX5 and TCR races at 7 p.m. Eastern on Monday nights. Then, of course, following that is the Oval Series with 101 lap late model races. And then finally, on Tuesday nights, they have the Dirt Series with the Dirt Pro late model at 9 p.m. Eastern. That said, it does not look like we are going to get an answer from Chase, unfortunately. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at our race results. Taking the checkered flag in his rookie debut race with, as he told us, about 5 minutes of forewarning, Koi Hasalu in the number 87 machine. Following him, also in his debut start, in the number 9 machine, Anthony Nadell. Third place going to Chase Johnson in the 83, who put on a very dominant race here tonight, but unfortunately could not pull off the win in these last few laps. Fourth place to David Sluiter in the number 95 machine, also in his debut start here with the Oval Series. Fifth place to Eric Gahn in the 51. Sixth place to Johnny Bell in the 27. Seventh to Nico Morelli in the 14. Eighth to Jason Gardner in the 93. Ninth to Brad Ringer in the number 4 machine. And finally, rounding out the field without, I don't think he actually started, but he did register, Mr. Bill Watkins in the number 6 machine. That said, that's all I got here for y'all tonight. Thank you all for coming out, and I will see you all next week at the Hickory Motor Speedway on Monday at 10 p.m., July 25th. Thank you all, and have a good evening, race fans.